Welcome back, dear viewers. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International. And as we talked earlier, we're going to be discussing in depth the National Youth Conference that is being held in Sharm el-Sheikh. The president had attended the first 2 days. He participated in a marathon, and also 3,000 youth participated in this National Youth Conference. Very positive remarks about the outcome of this conference, and to shed more light on this very big event that is taking place in the city of Sharm el-Sheikh. We're most delighted to be joined here in the studio by Dr. Ibrahim Ghazawi. He's a political commentator and an expert on international relations. First of all, good morning, sir, and thank you so much for joining.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Doctor. And first of all, let's shed the light on how important it is to have such a meeting or gathering during this period of time, especially that the president himself, actually, we can say that he tackled all aspects of life with the youth. How do you see it?
Well, I see it as an eye-opening indeed for this coming era in our recent history and in our future. Simply because if we don't rely on younger generations today, we have a great problem, and definitely there will be a failure in all what we are planning to do. That's why I see this move as a scratch, as we start from scratch when it comes to young generations. When we talk about youth, actually young generations and the youth sector in Egypt society is the greatest. We talk about more or less 60% of Egyptian population that comes under the category of youth. So we talk about sort of majority. The problem of young generations in any society, and Egypt is not an exception, is that they could be marginalized when it comes to the running of the country in different aspects of daily life issues. Of course, political side is on top, but we don't only talk about political side. We talk about the other sectors like economic sector, cultural sector, educational sector, all the sectors in the community. So the conference in itself is a great addition and condition. What is a condition? That we build on it. In itself, it's not an achievement, let me tell you, in itself. When you look at it just as a separate event. But this event will be very helpful, will be very productive, if we look at it as a take-off point. To build on it. To build on it what? A lot of things. To build on it a lot of pathway into the future, where the youth have a lot of words to say, where also the youth have a lot of attention and care that they should receive from the government, where the youth should have their own dreams and aspirations translated into realities, and the community have to facilitate that, where the youth words are heard on the highest level of the running, the administration of this country. Indicators are so positive, I have to be honest. Indicators are so positive because the president, the head of the executive authority in Egypt, himself on top of things there. That gives a serious indicator that things that will be coming soon will be going on the same direction, because we used, it's not a very positive thing, but it's positive now. I have to accept it as positive. We used that the president, when he orders and when he commands anything, it goes much faster and more influential. And that's what I hope to happen with this particular issue indeed, because challenges are a lot. When it comes to the youth specifically, we talk about a political reality in Egypt today which is not so stable. And the youth are at the heart of this political life. So we talk about a mechanism. If we use it or utilize it the best way, it can have a lot of positive feedback in the coming few weeks and months and years. We talk about, as I said, the majority of Egyptian population the satisfaction in the streets. All of this, the conference is a take-off point for that. So it has to be looked at from these points, different points. Actually, it's very strategic and very serious indeed.
Sir, several open discussions have been held. What was the most interesting for you and the most important remark that the President made in any of the open discussions that he participated in?
I think one of the most attractive one was the one talking about the media, the coverage of problems and how they are, whether professionally or emotionally handled. The input coming from the young participants were really impressive. A lot of known styles of handling our problems via talk show programs, very famous ones, have been criticized, which is good, because it means simply that the participants, the generations who participated, they have this sort of wisdom that they can analyze, they can watch, and they can think, and they can come out with their own impressions about things. That also gives good indicator that they have this ability of distinction between what's good and what's bad. Also, it have laid the blame on the media somehow on some issues because of the over reacting about handling some of the popular issues, or probably the negative handling of such issues. Actually, it was an open forum that shed the light on one of these very important and sizzling issues today in the Egyptian community, which is media. Of course, when we talk about media, we talk about something that gets into every house. We talk about not only houses, we talk about at the hands of everyone in the street today. So today, when we talk about the media and its influence, we talk about really influential factor in our behavioral structure in the street, because when you affect the mentality, when you affect the perceptions, when you affect the understanding of the youth in the street, of course you have to expect some reactions, whether these reactions are positive or negative. So I think this is one of the issues that was really impressive.
Well, I will take from the same question that Karim was talking about, actually the most impressive. And I will say that the most impressive for myself, actually, when the President talked about education as well. And I want to discuss this because talking about education, we have been talking about education for decades. And the point is that we always talk about the curriculum, but yesterday the President was talking about something that is really very, very important, that it is not only about studying, it is about the behavior, it is about our lifestyle, it is about a lot of things, how to make a personality, to build the personality, to confront the challenges we are facing, how we can work on this. And definitely this will need a lot of money, time, all of this, that we cannot change it day and night. And many people, they were talking also about it, we can solve it very easily, and other countries we can follow what they did, take their own experience. How do you just evaluate this whole issue?
Education definitely is one of the most compelling challenges in our society today. And it's not a new problem, we have to say. It has been existing for tens of years without serious tackling.
By the way, if they are well educated, don't tell me that wrong images or media or anything.
Yeah, will affect, of course.
Definitely, or terrorism or any of these things.
Exactly, I do agree with you. That's why I'm telling you now that it's not new. It's not recent problem, and that's unfortunate. It has been existing for tens of years. It means simply that a lot of the tools, the mechanisms of understanding and analyzing, the skills of understanding, analyzing, and distinction between what is good and what's not good is not in its full shape for a lot of people on the street. That we have to understand that education is partly responsible for that, not totally indeed. Even education itself is very complicated. It's not only one circle you talk about. It's not money. It's not administration. It's a package, full package of things. Out of this package, I will single out today the behavior, as the President said, the behavioral issues, not from only the teacher or the administrator, but from the student, from the pupil, which should be revised today, because the family is responsible for growing up the kids in such a way that makes them ready to receive education in schools. Is missing to some extent. So we have to stress on how to make our students more disciplined, because to be disciplined is a take-off point for success. Not only
But
students.
is it difficult to work on this? I mean,
Yes,
I
it
don't
is difficult.
Why? Because
It
we're
is
not talking
difficult.
about money, we're not talking
Yes.
about changing
No,
books
that's
or
the issue.
curriculum, but
You know what? If it was only about money, it's much easier, because if you get money, you will solve it. No, it's not money. It's more complicated than money.
it's us.
I hope it was money, because money, it means that when you get the money, you will solve your problems. No, it's not like that. It's us, as you said. It's family. It's reshaping the way we grow our kids. It's redirecting the motivations, the attitudes, the behavior, the understanding, the religion, everything. You need to redirect it to the right direction. The right direction is simply clear. You talk about how to make this kid productive, how to make him or her serious, how to make them
Creative.
have a vision for the future.
Yes.
And to be honest, we have a lot to do in that trajectory, and I see it today and yesterday and tomorrow. The most compelling issue, I'm not talking about the school so far, I'm talking about the family products, who are the kids in the school. If you have this sort of kids, the disciplined ones, the ones who can understand their duties, or the ones who can look after themselves, the one who can be disciplined and have good vision for their own duties and future, you have cut most of the problem. Of course, you still have the other issues, but have even less influential. You have the teacher, you have the school, you have the tools and materials, other things. That's why I see education not only just curriculum. You talk about a full package of responsibilities that we need to revise today. But we have to start from the families. And if we start from the kids, simply we will have also in our way the teacher, because teachers are coming from families. So we talk about like an interjoined process, because if you have the ability to raise up kids in a good way, so the teachers are coming from families, the employees coming from families. So you are tackling or handling the most serious and influential issue, how to produce to the community a disciplined individual. And I think this is our most compelling duty today.
Mm-hmm. Also, Dr. Ibrahim, speaking about the initiatives taken by the President during this National Youth Conference, do you believe that it will have its positive impact on the youth, and that they will no longer feel that they're underrepresented, and that they're being integrated into the society, into the political life, and also the all the aspects of life, not only politics?
Well, as I said at the beginning, this is good start. And yes, I definitely agree with you. This will be very positive in giving unquestionable signal of the attitude of the President and the Presidency and the whole government to allow the young generations to have their own rights in running this country. And also we have to rationalize to some extent to how far we can rely on youth. I mean, if you don't have this well-educated, and I'm impressed so far by the performance of the participants in the conference. They are very well-educated, they are very well-cultured. They have a good of dialogue tools that they can manage to get their ideas thoroughly, very, very clear and very disciplined and polite. Mm-hmm. Yes, they have right to have their own share in every aspect of life, not only in political scene. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, it has to be complemented, it has to be completed by some other circles, continuous training, the cultural structure of the mentality that have to be in sort of continuous enriching from, not from the community alone, and from the young generations alone, but from the government on the other side. There is responsibility in different circles of the community about this particular issue, because we cannot just say, yes, we have to open the way for young generations to come to a responsibility level. That's not enough. They have to be ready. To be ready means simply well-educated, well-cultured, responsible, have very good sensation of their own duties and their own rights. And also, when it comes to working on political life, it has to have that sort of responsible sensation of the political activities, because you touch on a lot of things that not only individual. It's you know, for the core interest of the whole society. You talk about the whole society will be affected. So it's big responsibility, and the young generations can have a good say on that, on condition they need more training, they need more experience, but they have the initial tools that can make them able to do this responsibility.
Just, Doctor, allow us right now, we are going to move on to Sharm el-Sheikh, to our correspondent Linda Abdulatif, and to find out more about the day-to-day, what is going on in Sharm el-Sheikh, talking about Egypt's first National Youth Conference. Linda?
Good morning, Naswa.
Good morning, Linda. So tell us more about today's activities and what's going on so far.
Well, after a while from now, Naswa, the third day of the National Youth Conference will kick off with a session entitled Government 7 that will be attended by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Now, this session will be a simulation between the Egyptian government officials and the PLP students, which is the Presidential Leadership Program, and they will be discussing issues of mutual concern and interest to the youth, and the government officials will be responding to the topics tackled during this session. Now, also President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi also is expected to be participating as well in a number of sessions that will take place over the day today. Now, as for today, also the agenda is full of a lot of workshops that cover the fields of education, scientific research, political participation, cultural identity, and religious dialogue, as well as entrepreneurship and economy. Now, the topics tackled, for example, just to give you an idea, will be, for example, the role of youth in implementing the Egyptian Vision 2030. There will be a session that will tackle the reasons behind violence in playgrounds, another session on the Egyptian Bank of Knowledge, another session as well on the challenges of Thanawi Amma, or the Egyptian National High School system. Also, one of these sessions will be about the youth vision on the reformation of the educational system, and also the role of media on increasing political participation. Another session also will tackle the negative impact on the Egyptian personality, and also there will be a session on the role of information technology in facing administrative corruption. There will be also a session on SMEs, another session on the effects of investing in the aviation sector on the Egyptian economy, besides the other sections or sessions as well. Now, also there will be a final, let's say, session that will finalize this National Youth Conference that will take place tonight, and will actually, of course, be attended by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
Right, Linda Abdulatif, thank you very much, and we will be back to you to find out more about all the outs of the day for today. And back to you, Doctor. Still, we are talking about the topics, for example, that are going to be discussed for today. I think all of these topics are very, very important, especially it really touches our daily life with our youth.
Yes, I think that the topics have been selected carefully to address most of the problems that we really suffer from today. When you talk about economy, yes, we talk about influential problem that affect every Egyptian. So the way,
By the way, I can see a direct relation between economy and media.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
media can be the source of many important issues.
Exactly.
And this was mentioned also by the president when it comes to the exchange rate, for example, because this is easily affected. Whenever you talk about something, so immediately you will find response without
Exactly.
even having grounds for what was mentioned.
Well, when it comes to the media, even when we all agree that it has influential role in normal times, it even have more influential role in difficult times, in times of crisis, because the effect of the media in this particular tough times is doubled, even 10 times more than usual when it comes to normal life. And that's the situation that we suffer from in Egypt. Even when you talk specifically about the exchange rate, the rumors that have been spread here and there around the dollar in some time last month. I believe a lot of the bad effect that happened in the market, in the real market in the street, was badly affected by the media itself, the unresponsible handling of these economic issues. That's why...
Sorry to jump in here, sir, but are you trying to say here that the weakening of the Egyptian pound in front of the, or versus the US dollar is because of the media?
No. That's exactly not what
Not
I mean.
to that extent.
I am, but so to some extent, it adds salt to the wound. And instead, it should have played more productive role. This is what I mean. Instead of worsening a bad image already, it has to be trying to handle it in a more positive way. This is what I mean.
Constructive.
Instructive, positive, opening hopes. Of course, the media is not the original
Or the main key
or
factor.
the main key for these issues. We all understand that the main key for the problem of dollar is the lack of production, the lack of exporting, a lack of seriousness.
Even though we can take benefit of the current situation, I mean, other countries, if they are in the same situation, they will take benefit that we can work a lot because especially we can be the only source for the whole world when it comes to the price of the Egyptian pound, for example.
Exactly. Even China, the greatest,
and there's
the greatest
good
giant,
indicators that our exports increased by $1 billion US, and the imports were reduced by $7 billion.
Yes, but let me tell you, it's not all genuine increase, because a genuine increase means simply that the tempo of production goes higher, the rate of production goes higher, the amount of exported items go higher. Everything should be doubled at least. But when you talk about only the problem of exchange rate, the increase is more or less superficial, because it doesn't reflect real change in the tempo of production and the tempo of exporting. But coming back to the issue of exchange rate, and sometimes it have positive feedback, yes, it's true. For China, they have been always seeking to reduce their own currency value in comparison to the dollar. But they are so productive. They have mass production in every scale. And they are in full control of the flow of the market, in and outside, controlling the market of the whole world. So when it comes to exchange rate, it's complementary for them. But for Egypt, it's not what we need. What we need in Egypt is a real production and manufacturing, and exporting and tourism. We need a lot of push forward coming from different directions. Only then you can talk about stability between the Egyptian pound and the dollar and any other international currency, indeed. And we cannot do that without having this sort of massive change in production levels, exporting, manufacturing. And of course, tourism. We talk about Egypt today suffering from lack of tourism, and that means simply that we have a lot of shortage in foreign currencies that used to be coming to Egypt via tourism sector. So when we talk about economy, we talk about everything. Of course, it's not the responsibility of the president alone or the government. We talk about a complete mechanism. Today we need more even to talk about the responsibilities of the young generations of workers, of professionals, of employees responsible for production sector. We have millions of workers from the young generations. They are responsible for pushing forward the tempo of production, the quality of products.
Well, speaking about the products, let's not of course forget what the president said regarding providing commodities, millions of commodities at half price, given the crisis and the shortage of some products like cooking oil and sugar. So this conference was not only about initiatives or talks, even actions.
Exactly, exactly. And also it was good occasion even to raise some negative behaviors from some sectors of the society. How can we handle the rumors? Instead of being more wise in terms of talking about the rumors, the lack of some food items or main products like rice or sugar or whatever, instead of that, people just race to buy. And that amplified the volume of products needed. And all of a sudden, it's not only in Egypt, in any other society, they will suffer from great problem if we ask, if we buy more than what we need. This is one of the issues that also should be point of interest, because we need to be more rationalized in terms of handling the rumors about consumption. We have to have another tool, and even that should be produced to everyone, that if we feel that the price goes higher more than usual, we can just diminish the demand. We cannot consume it the way we used. We have to cut down consumption. If we can even relinquish it totally and leave it for some time, the prices will go down automatically.
Yes.
That needs sort of maturity, and I'm quite sure that young generations understand that and can deal with it in a more productive way. You know.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but really do appreciate your insight, Dr. Ibrahim Ghazawi, political commentator and an expert on international relations. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And with this, we come to the end of our breakfast show for today. Actually, today we dedicated our episode on just bringing you more about the Egypt's first National Youth Conference taking place in Sharm el-Sheikh under the auspices and inaugurated by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Karim.
Yes, dear viewers, this was an episode especially dedicated to the National Youth Conference. We will, of course, later in the day bring you rolling coverage and minute-by-minute updates in regards to the National Youth Conference and the developments taking place there in Sharm el-Sheikh with our network of correspondents. Thank you so much, dear viewers. You're in the company of Nashwa Rashid and Karim Yamaluddin. Till we meet again, this is a very goodbye.